Sit down! Nobody talk! Sit down!
Make histories in front in our faces. And you have to try to take it, guys. Because when we play we play when the other is bad, shake hands. But you are not bad enough. If you became a top team, you have to score the goals, guys. You are sad? There are many sads. But you have to learn to play football with courage. Our best thing in our season is because it doesn't matter where we were, we play with a character, with courage to play. We are tired. You. We are tired. You.
Hey, and welcome to episode 27 of Shades of Blue podcast. We are United States' most comprehensive podcast, covering all 4 time zones, from the Mississippi River to the Pacific. My name is Crunk Chocolate, and today is gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you. By now, you should have somehow realized what you gotta do. They don't believe that anybody feels the way they do about you now. I am with Tom Bomb, Tarek, and Charlie. How's it going, fellas?
You know, it's a different day for us. This is listeners are recording on a Monday, so it's like a different energy as opposed to our normal Sunday routine. But I'm enjoying it. Happy to see all of you guys.
It's been a while since I've been able to record with you guys, so I'm really excited to do that and talk about this footy.
Yeah, I missed the last episode, so glad to be back. Glad to be able to make it, and hopefully you guys had a great day.
First things first, rate and review the podcast. 5 stars, or what's the point? Follow the podcast on Twitter at Shades of Blue US and tag us using the hashtag Shady Gang. Subscribe to our YouTube and to our Twitch, where you could be watching the recording live. What's up, Twitch? Links to all things SOB Pods in the show notes. In today's episode, a little bit of admin tings before we catch up on the previous week with each other. We review City's win against Brighton. We talk about the Premier League because we catching up to you, Arsenal. We on you. We getting there. Tom Bomb graces us with the baby blue baddies. Then we will talk about, we're back to 2 matches in a week. So we'll talk about those. But Charlie brought it up in the group chat. Shades of Blue. We're 6 months old. Yeah, like I guess since it's episodes and then we did all that stuff in the summer, it kind of just like warps my brain as to how long we've actually been doing it. And we haven't been doing this long. And so this is great. I want, on behalf of the pod, I'm going to let them talk, obviously. We want to thank all our listeners, who we lovingly call Shady Gang for the first-time listeners, if you don't know. We want to thank all our guests who have joined us on the Represent, the Europod, Litstream, and the podcast in general. The pods that have had us on their podcasts. The podcast game is about community. At least it is with Shades of Blue. Looking forward to more episodes with y'all. And you know what would really help Shady Gang? If you gave us 5 stars and a positive review. Sorry, I had to. Charlie, Tom, Derek, you want to add on? Please do.
This has just been such an amazing space. I think it's so cool that there's a group of us that we just get to talk about city football, and the fact that to me the fact that you all listen is amazing, and it's just kind of like a cherry on top. But like really the meat and potatoes is just getting to speak with these fellas every week about Manchester City football, and that's just such a great blessing. And I can't say anything better about these fine gentlemen that I get the privilege of seeing every week. So, and we just thank you for being along on the ride with us.
Yeah, just to echo those sentiments. I was telling Crump before we recorded, once you do something for like 6 months, they say like 30 days or 4 weeks builds a habit. So imagine doing something like now 6 months. Like I feel like this is a part of who I am now. Like I take this very seriously. When I was away for the weekend, like I made sure in the midst of all the tomfoolery in Atlanta, like Saturday morning I was watching the match. Like there was nothing going to stop me, from doing this because it matters to the rest of the guys. It matters to those who listen and watch lit streams and things. Like you take it seriously because it matters. And so, it's really an honor to do this every week and thoroughly enjoying it.
Everything everybody said, but just really just thank you. Thank you so much to anyone and everyone. If you've listened to one episode or if you've been here all 27, wherever you're from, near, far, anywhere in between, just thank you so much for just taking time out and giving us a shot. We were probably still are to some degree the new kids on the block, but like I think it was Tom saying, we just wanted to be able to talk City, our passion, our love for City. And we found a community with each other and then wanted to be able to effectively share that with everybody else. So to every single member of Shady Gang, whether you're in the United States, England, wherever, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And we hope you'll be with us 27 more. And then 27 after that, and we'll just keep going.
I love you,
I feel
bitch.
Oh my God.
I ain't gonna never stop loving you, bitch.
What were you gonna say, Derek?
No, it's all good. I was just going to say, I was thinking about basketball, LeBron and D Wade and all of them when they were saying how many championships they're going to win. Not one, not two, not three. They just kept going, right? And so it was like, come back for 27, not 27, but 28 and 27 more and then, whatever.
Run it up,
So
all these episodes.
but no, it's all good.
We're going to be here. We look forward to you joining us. But speaking of lit streams, we back. Friday, October 28th. Getting festive or a little lit stream. Some of y'all might not have a Halloween gathering to go to. Tap into our lit stream. Have some snacks. Grab your preferred beverage. If you rock a costume to the lit stream, please request a guest link. I will gladly bring you on and chat a little city. Go to our page on Twitter, hit turn on those notifications, subscribe to the YouTube, to Twitch, all that stuff to get notified when we get live. Adam Rosen and Josh Crutchmer will be our guests. Most dope people doing most dope things and happen to be City fans, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm aware we're doing a fantastic job during the lit streams, but we need y'all a little more live in the comments. Some of you guys do a great job, but there's like two people doing the heavy lifting. Like, help them out. You guys are watching. Just say something. I know you want to. Let's spice up the show. I'm a big fan of chaos.
I'm really excited for. I wasn't gonna get a costume until you
That's
said
what I
that
like
this
to
was
hear.
a costume-based something, and so I actually bought something Friday, and it shipped today. So I
Let's
am
go.
very excited to wear it for the lit stream.
Crunk's just gonna break out his full City kit. He's got the shorts, the socks. He's gonna put on some cleats, and I don't know if he's gonna be. I don't know which player he's gonna be. Let's say it that way. There's only a couple.
I can try to kick my football with the cleats on
It'll
and
be
slip around my floor for you guys. I totally do that for some content.
It'll be Laporte. It'll be definitely be Laporte.
You're right.
There you go.
Man. But a full week away from each other with no lit stream. I've missed your faces, and I look forward to hearing your footballing perspectives later. But now we are catching up. What's up, my guys? How's your last week been? Let's start with Charlie.
So for the viewers on YouTube, I am proudly wearing my Maroon Tigers hoodie. I'm a graduate of Morehouse College, an HBCU in Atlanta, Georgia, founded in 1867. I give you the whole run of the mill, but it was homecoming. And if you are unaware, an HBCU homecoming is literally like a family reunion mixed with like the biggest music festival with like a little bit of football on the side. It's just all of these things. And so it was a beautiful time. It was our first one since 2019 because of COVID the last couple of years. And our schools were chose to be extra safe last year when the rest of Atlanta was like moving and grooving. They were like, no, we're just going to take it easy because we know, like, variants are out there and people don't have all their vaccines. So we had to wait a little year, but the party was worth the wait. Seeing people I hadn't seen in 3 years sometimes, having my girlfriend come with me and celebrate, the festivities and meet everybody I love and care about, have my boys from New York come down. So that was the highlight of my season. I'm capping that as the end of my birthday celebration. It started with FIFA coming out and it ended with homecoming. So I'm officially 32 and just going to be 32 now. No more extra joy.
Did you see Angelina Jolie while you were there, since her daughter goes to Spelman?
Sadly, I didn't see any of the celebrities live because, if I can real quick, the way we map out homecoming is like, if you have a big group, you have tents, and the tents can be spread out kind of further away from the madness. And we had one as it was my class's 10-year anniversary. And so I was like, for most of the time, like off to the back, just with our open bar, fully enjoying myself. She was down in the mix, which is surprising, but I guess, you got to be seen with the plebes. But I was like, yeah, I'm old now. I don't need to be walking around in a huge crowd and bumping into people. Just give me my drinks, play some good music, and let me be happy. But I was happy to see that she
And
came.
Jolie,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say she just loves looking like she's an everyday person. Like, she loves that stuff.
It's the part of the aesthetic, right? But we had also Senator and Morehouse man Raphael Warnock. We had Stacey Abrams, Georgia gubernatorial candidate, and Spelman alum come through. I also believe there was one more big name, Kerry Washington. Yes, that's who it was. So Kerry came through. She was doing some campaigning for Warnock and Adams. So it was really, really dope. Yeah, great times. Sorry that took up so much of time, but that was homecoming.
Don't apologize.
So it's been a while since I've been seen on the Shades of Blue. Sometimes you take the good with the bad with the life. So 2 weeks ago, I went to a wedding, and I for a friend of mine, and went a little bit too hard, lost my voice, so I couldn't record with the guys. And then the previous week, I was actually in Kansas City for a funeral. One of my good friend's fathers passed away. So it was very important for me to be there for him, which is why I tried to record while I was on the road with the guys, but I don't know what T-Mobile is talking about with the best 5G service in America, because that did not work for me along I-70, but it's all good. I'm glad to be back.
Glad to have you back, homie. Man, for me, I went out. Today's Monday. I went out Saturday, which is probably the last good, decent round of golf here in Indiana before it gets too cold to really go out. And I'm not good enough to go out when it's like really cold. I have to be really good to be out there doing that to myself, and I'm not that good yet. So no, I'm not out there. So I did that this past weekend. My Sundays, which is when we typically record, we got started back with basketball for AAU. And so that's kind of the opening part of our season is a league that happens to be on Sunday afternoons in our time slot. So good to see my daughter back on the basketball court, but also at the same hand knowing like, dang, it's keeping me from being able to be with you guys. So so doing that basketball stuff with middle school tryouts coming up, I think in another week or two. Club soccer kicking off. And then doing all of the college applications and all that kind of stuff with my oldest. So one day she'll have a homecoming wherever that ends up being. But let me tell you something. Y'all have probably filled out the FAFSA as a student. As a parent, they asking too many questions. Let me just say this. What is in my bank account has no bearing on my daughter. She gonna have to go get one of them emancipations where she gonna be on her own, where my money don't influence her, because my money is not her money. This is what the IRS don't understand. This is what the education department, they don't understand. That dad's money
So
is not kids' money.
So right after that whole
Kid better go get a
USC
job.
admission scandal came out, I read a story about how a lot of upper middle class children in America are filing for emancipation at age 16, 17 to circumvent everything that you're talking about right now. So like all of their assets are just seen as theirs. So then these kids who probably as a general rule would not qualify for Pell Grants are getting all of this Pell Grant money that they probably don't deserve. So it's already.
Well, somebody should have put your boy up on game, because if they giving out Pell Grant money, PPE money, I don't care what kind of money. My daughter needs it all. She needs it all. So, yeah, that's crazy. But she thought about going to Spelman. That was one of her schools on her list. But they don't offer her major. But only school in Atlanta I can think of is, I think, Clark Atlanta she applied to. So we'll see. So yeah, that's been
And I know
my
that those
life,
aren't
man.
cheap. I know that applications aren't cheap because every school is charging an application fee of it.
Okay, so let me just say this. It is absolutely true that college applications is ridiculous. It's 40, 50, 60 bucks a pop. She applied to USC. That's $85 a pop. I almost was like, you're not going to USC. I don't even care if you do get in. $85. Good Lord. I got to pay you $85 just to find out if my kid can get in. Anyway, but not all HBCUs. So putting that caveat out there, but there's a thing called so obviously most kids do the Common App, which allows you to apply to multiple schools, but you have to pay individual. You still have to pay the individual fee to each school. There is a Common Black College application that allows you to apply to like 60 or 70 different HBCUs. You pay one $20 fee, and they will basically put your application out there. Any of the schools can pick it up, and that's your application to all of them. So quite honestly, there were some schools that we wasn't really necessarily considering, but I'm like, for $20, are you going to put that in there? Because you never know what's going to happen. So quite honestly, Clark Atlanta wasn't on her list, but by putting it in, using that application, paying that $20 fee, that was one of many HBCUs that have picked up her app. So we are a long way from city, but go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that, like, that's an amazing thing I did not know about, and I feel embarrassed as an educator that I didn't know it. But I don't work with high school, so that's why I wouldn't. But I will say that, like, it's pretty cool to think about how that can change people's lives, because it may not be on your radar, but maybe once you are on theirs, here comes some academic scholarships. Here comes a full ride.
And that is exactly what I told my daughter. That may not have, because again, you don't know all these HBCUs. There's some that are larger, some that are smaller. Quite frankly, I don't know all these HBCUs. I had never heard of a Miles College, right? But I can tell you she's got emails in her inbox right now from Miles College. Jackson State, Grambling, Winston-Salem State, North Carolina Central. There's any number of these schools all the way out to Texas to the East Coast. So for any listener who is either a parent of a high school student or, soon to be high school student, or you're an educator and you work with kids, particularly Black kids, but it doesn't have to be Black kids, but especially Black students, this is a resource that you definitely want to take advantage of. And with that, I'll cede back the time to Let's Talk City.
No, that was brilliant, though. And also, half the reason why people listen to this podcast, yes, it's the city talk, but they want to get to know us. And that's half the reason why I forced this, catching up with us at the beginning of the episode. And I appreciate y'all's willingness to, let the podcast in. So, yeah, thanks again, always. and we get gems like this. But let's talk about the match that just happened. Man City Brighton, the pre-match presser. I love watching these because most of the time this is boring, but every now and then you can get some gems. But in this pre-match presser, Pep was asked about the chants and the graffiti twice. The first time he answered and he moved on, but the second time was from a guy that I assume either has some kind of Liverpool ties or at least is not a fan of City, just because the way that he worded the question. And the reason why I ask is because of the way the questions was asked, Pep's body language, and the way that Pep answered these questions. I do have audio clips ready to go, and I'll play them. The first is Pep responding to the said journalist who asked, what he said was, Manchester City have yet to respond to the fans singing songs making fun of Liverpool's pain and the graffiti in the way area. Would you like this chance to say something? And Pep already said something, so this was his long drawn out thing.
I didn't hear the chant. If it's happened, I'm so sorry. It not represent what we are as a team, as a club, if this happened. So, but don't worry, we can behave perfectly our mistakes without a problem.
He says, I didn't hear it. If it happened, I'm so sorry. He said what he needed to say, as it doesn't represent City as a club. If it happened, added in, don't worry, we can behave. We are not the problem. Is this some sort of conspiracy that shitskousers are trying to put out this nonsense on us that, they're the puppet masters all along? City really haven't addressed the situation, and I don't know, the way Pep is reacting, I feel like is a low-key representation of it. Obviously, I don't want to get too deep in it because it's all sad, and obviously no one should be making these chants ever, and there's never a place for it. But that was just an interesting snippet from that pre-match presser. And the second clip, the guy continues, moves on, and it's, yeah, so, I was going to say something else, but I'll just play the second clip.
And just in terms of this week, because every other team in the Premier League played a game, including Arsenal, because they were in the Europa League, do you have any advantage going into this game? You've had a full week to prepare. That's got to be a benefit, I would have thought.
No, one advantage in 7 years, so it's not a problem.
But in terms of your squad, you've had a full week.
Listen, this is not be different. We are used to play until the last stages, no competitions, like 6 years. They didn't have, always we play with all the teams that don't play in Europe, always have an advantage for the teams who play in Europe. So if you take this point, we could not win the games because they were better. They were rest. This is not important. Important is be ready mentally, rest a lot to prepare the game. So normally we play the games like the other ones have more time to rest. And we complain? Never. So it's what it is. The game we're going to play the Arsenal, the other team is going to rest. They are going to play the game. So
He said, what advantage? One advantage in 7 years. Using your logic, every team should beat us, right? Huh? Pep cut that man off mid-sentence with a listen. Whenever someone hits you with a listen, most of the time you're about to get read your rights. And this was no different. Pep said, you think we're going to blame me, the best manager in the world? Anyway, like I said, it's just those were a couple of the gems from the pre-match presser at Brighton. And I haven't watched the one for Dortmund, so I'm looking forward to that. But the starting 11 for the Brighton match was Ederson protecting the posts, backline of Akanji, Diaz, Laporte, Cancelo, midfield trio of Rodri, KDB, and Bernardo, Grealish on the left wing, Haaland up top, and Mahrez on the right wing. Stones on the bench, which was a good sign. Not a fan of Grealish and Mahrez on the pitch together, but it was happening. The problem with me was that they just hold on to the ball and they kill the momentum. But oddly enough, whenever they're on the pitch individually without each other, they kill it. So obviously it was the beginning of the season. There's growth. They're home, and Brighton are struggling finally under their new manager. I always expect City to win, but I did not expect this win to be one of those like overwhelming wins from the beginning of the season. Using one word, and of course you can elaborate, describe your thoughts when you saw the starting 11, Tarek.
I'm with you. I didn't like I don't like that winger combination. But I do feel like Jack. You said one word. My bad.
Well, just start with one word, and then you can elaborate. What is the overall emotion that you felt?
I'll just say mixed. I'll say mixed because there were some things I didn't like about it and things that I did. So I'll be mixed.
My original thought was safe. Just particularly seeing Mahrez and Grealish on the wings together. I think it was we have lost too much control in the last two matches. We need to make sure that we are fully in control of this match.
My word, secure. Like I felt a lot of security in seeing, the light mode center backs together again. Love seeing Diaz with Laporte. That felt good. I'm happy that Akanji was on the right. And then when you get to the front, there is security in their like faults. Like it's not going to be a game where we get caught out on the counter. And when you have Mahrez and Grealish. And so I was happy that they were given the opportunity to try again, because as supporters and fans and podcasters, we can want to go for the, never do it again. How dare you? And I've been that person, but there's clearly some value to that. And the more you do it, the better it becomes. And the more, those patterns. So a lot of security.
It looked great, in my opinion. Match starts, Brighton, that press that they did, where they basically just matched every City player who would come in the backfield and tried to force Ederson to chip over up top. Wow, that was tough to say, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself. City, they struggled in the first 10 minutes. Ederson passed right to Danny Welbeck, and thank goodness it was Danny Welbeck, or something disastrous could have happened. Few other times, City had to hoof the ball just up the field, but that's really not City's game. We're not the best in air duels. Like usually what happens is it bounces off a couple of heads and then it ends up in Brighton's foot, or honestly any team. That's how Liverpool really got us, is just like turning the match ugly and taking away our ability to have control of the ball. But the 19th minute VAR, they steal a penalty from Haaland. Kevin had plenty of open space, but a Brighton defender got a toe on the ball, forcing Haaland to do his best to draw a penalty. Was that a penalty, Tom Baum?
I didn't like the ref. I thought that the calls in this game were super inconsistent. I think that we got the makeup call. I do think that it was a penalty, yes. I think that we ended up getting the makeup call later in the match. But the officiating of this match left a lot to be desired.
You know what? I was trying to wait. We normally record on the Sunday. The phone never rings on Sunday for some reason. Now it wants to ring tonight, which it's 8:47. Why are they calling me? Why are they calling my house? It's probably a telemarketer. Anyway, your question was what again?
Haaland possible penalty where Sanchez does get a foot on him, but it is called nothing. They say he engineered that contact.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely thought it was I'm with Tom. I thought it was a penalty. They didn't give it. There was another instance, and by the time we got later on in the match, I feel like they had to okay, we just got to give them. We can't keep turning them away. If it had been no contact, that'd be one thing. There's clear contact in the box. The man falls over. Yeah, you can only say no so many times. So, yes, I thought there was contact. I thought it should have been a penalty. I was disappointed that it wasn't given. I was not surprised to see a makeup call later on. And I won't even call it a makeup call because, again, I think there was contact on that situation too. I just think that at some point they felt like we have to give them one of these. We can't keep turning them away.
I would like to say something about, the race of the person being fouled and how that goes against them. But this is white man Erling Haaland. Like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing here? If he can't get the call, who gonna get the call? They didn't want to give it to Raheem when my man was getting beat up. They were just like, nope, sorry, he went down too easy. This is Erling Haaland, man. He ain't got no reason to just fall. Nobody's out here slipping. So it's just like,
and it is about color.
That was
too.
frustrating.
It's about the color of that uniform, that jersey, that kit, that sky blue, or whatever, any of our uniform combinations. You put that on, you immediately don't get any calls. You immediately become a target. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah. I was waiting for it, for them to be like, all right, there we go. And it was like, no, bitch. So that was fun. But VAR can't stop the man, not even if they tried. And bitch, they tried.
Haaland, Haaland, selbst die Bayern haben Angst, bald geht ihm das ganze Land. Haaland, hey, Haaland, Haaland, gestern war er unbekannt, heute feiert ihn das ganze Land. Haaland, hey.
Haaland, hey. Man's is inevitable. Goal kick from a non-penalty. It's really funny. He scored basically right after that non-penalty. Sanchez, he just kicks it wherever, bounces off a couple of Brighton heads. City gets possession. Kevin draws a foul from that tackle, and then the motherfucker, he came in hot. I was really worried about Kevin at that moment. From that dead ball, Cancelo takes it back to Ederson. Ederson back to Cancelo, to Rodri, back to Ederson. And when you think Brighton are going to turn the match back to a scrap, Ederson does what Ederson does. Haaland does what Haaland does. Tosses Lewis Dunk, or whoever the fuck that was, across Etihad's plush pitch, sliding away from a joyous Haaland, who puts City up 1-0 for real this time. Erling Haaland's 16th goal of the Premier League, 21st in all competition.
I think Charlie said this on an episode earlier that Cancelo delivers maybe the best ball on the club. And I think I'm going to go ahead and argue with you, Charlie, because I think it's Ederson. And I think because it's not just the well-placed pass out of the back. Like he's got that assist in his locker too. I don't really think any other goalkeeper in the world can do. Like I think that you see why he's here. And I think obviously, yes, Haaland inevitable, but I do want to give Ederson some props because we really haven't talked about Ederson at all this season, but that might be his best offensive moment of the season thus far.
And Liverpool losers will quickly chime in and say that's how Salah scored on us, but he slipped. He didn't mean to do that. There was a whole lot that had to go in for that Alisson Salah nonsense. So calm down.
And I'll say that Ederson has done this. We have history. He's done this before, playing it to King Aguero.
You can't. How should I say? The goal can't happen unless Ederson hits that ball exactly where he does. But on the other end, the Norwegian bulldozer. I mean, just embarrassing grown men out here. And he's a young kid. He is 22. It's like, you grow up and you think you're strong, but 22 strong is not 28 strong. Like, you can't do the same things. So for him to be doing this at 22, what the hell? Like, we need to, Crunk, you need to get that clip where Rick Ross is like, 22, I got them 22.
I got you.
Birds go for... How did he know? How does Crunk do it, y'all? I don't understand. This was not pre-set up. Oh my gosh. Mind blown. But yeah, to be that young and that strong, it's just I felt for the goalkeeper and the defender. I really did feel for them. Like, damn, there's nothing you could do about it. Like, he is truly inevitable. And we knew after not scoring against Liverpool, he was going to get it back.
I just love talking.
And he did.
This team, especially when we're winning, it's nice. Brighton, they did have a few chances, but the rest of the first half, it was just gorgeous team passing from City, Cancelo cooking players, Mahrez dicing defenders, penalty shouts from Grealish that weren't given, but Bernardo, His gets a look, and he gets the penalty. VAR took their damn time, though, asking Craig Pawson to take a look before we get to Holland's penalty. What would have happened if Brighton scored in that like 2-ish minutes before VAR told the ref to take a look at the Bernardo foul? Does it count? I would assume it gets removed, but it's just like I don't think we've gotten to a situation where something like that has happened yet. So I don't know. Does anybody know? Does anyone have a guess? I assume it get removed, right?
I
I'm
believe.
gonna.
Oh, go ahead, sir. I couldn't see you.
No,
My
no,
bad. Go ahead. You got it.
y'all good.
I was gonna say, I think I read something that said, like a tweet from somebody that was like, in the case of that happening, it goes back, like it gets wiped off the board because it's against the run of play. However, I just want to add, this one I think was not a penalty. Like I think Bernardo sold it, but they had to give
for
it
sure.
to us because they didn't give the first one. Like I just want to put that out there as like for being fair and balanced. He definitely didn't need to stick out his
Why
left
do we
leg
care about being fair and balanced?
because I'm trying to be
The network that tries to tell us they're fair and balanced is the opposite of fair and balanced. Why we want to start being fair and balanced now?
because we can't be like them, Sarah. We can't stoop to their level.
Not all of us
I'm
can
just
be
saying.
Michelle Obama, Charlie.
When they go high or when they go low, we go high.
No, we don't.
I'm not even going high. I'm just calling a spade as a lifetime spades player. Okay.
Okay.
That thing is what I saw, and it's just something that we got to call out. Like I loved it, and I thought we deserved it because of the first one. But my man, his left leg.
Sure. But what I will say is,
yeah,
he technically couldn't put his left leg down anywhere. So did he like throw some sauce into it? Yeah, totally. But like, if he would have put his leg down, he would have got taken out anyway.
See, I thought that the foul on Grealish was the definite penalty of all of the three of them. And I think like that probably needed more context to the Bernardo one being a makeup call because they missed two, and then like that to me was the definite penalty amongst the three. But I mean, I will take the PK whenever we get it.
See, and the only reason why I don't think the Grealish one didn't get called is because he whiffed. Because he tried to like do I don't know what he tried to do, but he tried to kick and then he missed and then the leg hit him. So I think maybe that's why they said it didn't count because it was almost like a pass interference, but the ball was too far away type of vibe. So I don't know. I think they all should have counted if we're being honest. Like, fuck a fair, give us our fouls. But first half ends. City, they're looking pretty dominant. They're looking imperious. They're looking destructive, terrifying. Like, it's one of those things we love Manchester. We love what they represent. We love the good that they do. But the footballing world, they choose to see us how they see us, and that's their own personal problem. So if they see us like the Empire, they see us like the Empire. It is what it is. That's why I'm personally just embracing it. I feel like I've been low-key calling us the evil Empire for half a season now. But before we get into the second half, I know Brighton, they were gonna come out with energy. They were gonna try to get this game back. They were gonna try to hustle back. They were gonna scrap, which would leave opportunity for City to score more goals. So we'll start with you, Tarek. How did you feel after the first half? What were your expectations? Did you see more goals coming on City's behalf?
I did, but we do have a tendency to start, I'll say, halves slow, whether that be first half, second half. We have a tendency to come out of the locker room and we kind of got to work ourselves up. So yes, I expected more goals. To be fair, Brighton played great. They played well. I don't want to say great. Great's too strong. They played well. So I thought that there was still chances for them in the game as well. But yeah, I expected us to come out and put another 2 goals up.
Yeah, Tom, what do you think?
I felt like this was the first half of football in four halves of football. You know, at the beginning where we have where we have Pep saying, "But you have to play football with courage." This was the first time in two matches that you saw this football team play with courage. So that was encouraging to me. I knew that I didn't necessarily know if we were going to score more goals, but I knew that by halftime we had the result that we wanted, that we were going to get all three
I'll
points.
definitely echo that sentiment about like knowing the 3 points was secure. Like we fixed up the issues from earlier this season. I wasn't worried about a shootout. My biggest, well, first I don't want to skip Holland's penalty, and the fact that we didn't talk about it shows just how like much we know it's inevitable. Like we are calm. We trust him. It's like when Spurs has Kane go up, you don't think Kane's gonna miss. You think he's gonna make it. That's what he does. So it's like knowing that. I mean, the technique is crazy because I don't know if he switched it up. His run up is so fast. It's like even though the keeper guessed the right way and it wasn't a perfectly placed penalty, he just does it so quickly that Sanchez couldn't react. So I thought that was beautiful. But I was just hoping for the second half. Yeah, the pace
And he
is.
hits it with so much power. There's so much power. It's like you're gonna break your wrist trying.
I don't blame
to stop
anybody
that.
for even like just short arming it. Like you could get an alligator arm for that. I don't want to stop that. Your left wrist is too valuable. Nobody wants a broken wrist. But I will say that I just wanted to see subs after the Liverpool match. All I cared about in the second half, I didn't care about the final score. Just put people on the pitch. Use the bench. So that's what I was looking forward to.
The second half starts. The game is off. The first 7 minutes were frenetic, and I hated it. I know City had multiple chances, but I just didn't like it. There was not any control. It was just up and down, basketball match. And the example is the Brighton goal. Mahrez misses an amazing chance, and then Sanchez hoofs the ball up the pitch. City players are unfazed because, the last 7 minutes have been a basketball game, so they just expect the ball to come back to them. Players are all over the place, except for Brighton, right before, like of course they hoofed the ball up, but Troussard and the guy who's passing it back with, they kind of slowed the pace down just a little bit. I don't think City kind of recognized that it was like the snake about to strike. So it was enough for Troussard to find space and score near post. It was really great. I'm not angry at Ederson at all. Honestly, he's been amazing all season. Like he was always going to give us kind of those like sketchy, hairy moments, but like I've been like so secure and happy with Ederson this season. So City 2-1. How did you feel? Did anybody see the reactions on that goal on Brighton? Someone messed up. It looked like everybody though.
It was like 3/4 of the back line just like switched off once Mahrez like took that chance. Like the ball went right between between Diaz and Laporte, and like they didn't really make a play at it. And then Akanji felt like he was caught out of position too, and he never really stepped to Trossard once he got back in position. So yeah, I think you're correct in saying that we do not need to blame that goal on Ederson, but like I would put that goal at the feet of those three gentlemen. Because it just seemed like they switched off for that sequence. And to your point, at Crunk, I like you were saying that those first 7 minutes were very frenetic, and you didn't like it because we weren't in control. Those 7 minutes reminded me of the entire Newcastle match, like just not having that control of the ball and like letting them get into the match. So yeah, I definitely felt that same lack of control as well.
So I just had to watch it back because it had been a few days now, and I had a couple of copious amounts of alcohol between then. But I do like, didn't Akanji get beat up the pitch? Like, wasn't something where like he was out of position, or like, am I missing it? Okay.
Yeah, so he actually had Troussard, and then when Troussard passed, he followed the ball, but then the guy gave it right back to Troussard, and Troussard was wide open, and Akanji just watched him shoot, basically.
Yeah, I mean, because like, okay, the shot is at the top of the box. It's not a great angle, and like if you look at the shot,
Yeah, the angle exactly.
I mean, to hit it he hit it in the perfect spot. So that's just like it's like the one Anthony scored, right? You just got to give credit where credit is due. It's a crazy hit. It should be on like a goal of the season review because that was a really beautiful strike. So yeah, I mean, and of course we know what comes next. So I'll stop talking.
Yeah, and that's what you really have to do with City. Like, who was that? That was Bailey's goal against us, and when we played Villa earlier this year, like the wonder goal that just like flew past Ederson. Like, we have a history of players just like scoring insane goals against us, and then it ends up being goal of the season because you scored it against City, and that's a kudos on us. We win awards for other players. That's how great we are. But we talked about who we are, frustrated. But let's see. So after
Can I
that
just
goal,
say?
yeah,
Oh,
totally.
sorry. Troussard. Yeah, as I said, he's a pretty good player. If you remember earlier in the season, he got a hat trick against Liverpool. So there was always that potential for him to go get off on us, right? So I just think we have to be better with pacey, wide players. We have to be able to adjust to that because that's what's been our Achilles heel this season. Whether it's Salah, whether it's Troussard, whether it's what's my man from Newcastle?
San Massimo.
I can't think of his name.
Oh, Maximum.
Same Maximum. Yeah. So it's like that is our Achilles heel, particularly because Kyle Walker's out. He is what shuts all of that down. And with him being hurt, as good as a defender as Akanji is, as good as he is on the ball, no one has Kyle Walker pace. I'm sure Charlie can tell me what it is on EA, but his pace should be ridiculous. I mean, it is ridiculous. And so we need, with him not being available, it takes away from us, our back line, and it makes us more suspect than I think. With him back there, I think we're very solid. When he's not there playing against pacey wingers, it makes me a little nervous.
Well, and it's also our setup too, because Zhao basically becomes a midfielder, and our right back is even pretty high themselves. And I know they're low-key supposed to help Rodri cut off part of the ball, but really we just have like two people back there, and they have to cover a lot of field because we have a high line and we're so far up. It's just a lot that all of the players have to do together in unison in order for us to not let a goal like what Troussard did on us. And is Troussard even that fast? Because technically he was just outrunning Rodri. So it's just like, is he really that fast?
Fair enough.
But again, I don't want to take away from him. And Pep, 16th minute sub, Foden for Mahrez, who had a decent match, but he was definitely starting to fizzle out. Foden brought the energy immediately with his first couple of touches. If I can nitpick Ruben Diaz, he tried to ping a ball over to Foden and sliced the good hell out of it. It was hilarious. If City weren't winning, that would have been like a really bad moment. But since they were doing fine, you could just kind of just like laugh. Grealish was in front of him asking for the ball before he even like sliced the ball like he did. Cancelo was on his left. Even Laporte was close enough to him to like pass it to him to make that pass that, because they're better with the ball than Diaz is. I don't know. Maybe he was feeling like Ederson and just feeling a little bored and wanted to insert himself into the situation. But I digress. City were struggling to keep possession at that time. And after that pass, Brighton, they had a really solid spell of possession. City would get their chances, but it was weird. I'm happy you pointed out, it's like the Newcastle match where we were actually the ones doing the counterattacking Like we'd get the ball and then we'd try to fly up the pitch and then try to score, and then Newcastle or Brighton would take their time with it. It was just very weird. But it wasn't weird for too long because the 74th minute goal by Kevin De Bruyne. Foden gets fouled needlessly by Estupinan. Estupinan? Yeah, there you go. I wanted to call him this something else. But he gets a yellow card. The crowd, they started yelling a "Come on City" chant right there, and that was amazing. Akanji to Diaz to Laporte, who then gives it to Cancelo, and he dances around a Brighton defender. He gives the ball to Bernardo, who flies up the pitch. And if you pause the game before Bernardo passes the ball, again, Grealish is in front of him, begging for the ball. You have Cancelo bombing up the left, and then Haaland is by himself with 3 defenders around him. Bernardo makes this weird pass to a player who isn't even on the screen. Turns out it's Kevin with entirely too much time and space. 1 touch to control the ball. The second is a stunner curling away from a diving Sanchez.
I just want to give you a lot of credit, Crump, because your rundowns, I can see the play happening in my head. Like that note taking is so good. And I'm like, yeah, that did happen. Oh shit, he did pass up the option. I was like, oh wait, please don't pass it to Haaland. He is not open right now. I will say in the post match, Kevin just told the reporter, like, I got the ball and I had to assess my options. And that looked like the best one. But he assessed the hardest option. Like he was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put it opposite, and I'm gonna put it so high he can't get it. And it doesn't matter. Like, he is so good. And for Pep to go, Kevin's not at his best right now. I'm like, well, damn, Pep. I know he's not scoring 4 a game, but shit, like, look what this man just did. He leading the league in assists. What you want from my man? Where's DMX right now? What Pep want from a Kevin? It's just, I had to stop myself there because he's still Kevin De Bruyne. Yeah. But, so it's just like, okay, incredible goal.
I'll add that to the list.
I liked when you were describing it, Crunk, because I was thinking the same thing. I'm watching the screen, and you can't even see KDB. Somebody's coming down the middle, but you can't see who it is. And I'm trying to figure out where he's going to go with the ball, and he plays it out. And I'm like, oh, my God, who's there? And then he takes the shot. But unlike, say, the Vincent Kompany blast a couple years ago, or John Stone's blast, where they're just like these lasers that are hit super hard, just fired in there. This one, it was all about technique. It wasn't about power. It was about technique. The bend he gets on the ball, puts it up, like you said, up in that corner, where you're just not going to get to it. And it's exquisite. The dude is, yeah, I'm with you. What else does he have to do? I saw those Pep quotes too, and it's like, if this is him not at his best, oh my God, what is the league in for?
And it's really funny because, I mean, I see what Pep's talking about. Like, I see it. There are moments where he telegraphs what he's gonna do, or he just like tries to do too much, and that's just. Saying Kevin is doing too much is like a wild ass statement, but it's just like I feel like he tries something once and then he instantly learns how to adjust that. So then when he does it again, it works. So I feel like he purposely tries to do crazy shit just to like teach his body how to do it. It just like calibrates and then can kick it the right way the next time.
Yeah, I'm with you because there are moments in the match where he will give the ball away. But I don't get upset because I know it's KDB and I know he's being attacking. He's being aggressive. He's being, on that front foot, trying to go get us a goal, trying to create something. And that's his job, to be that creative player. And when you're making creative passes, you're going to give the ball away more than someone who is just, keeping it safe, pinging sideways and square balls, that kind of thing. So, but I don't like seeing him the ball be given away. But I also know, like you said, okay, he'll figure that one out next time. It's all good. So, and that's where I can see where Pep is saying he's maybe not at his best because there are times in matches where he will give the ball away but I don't know how you criticize the man with what he's doing for us. So.
I think with that goal, that's the only two combination of midfielders in the world that could make that goal work. Like only Bernardo and KDB could do that. I don't care if you have, I don't care who your midfield is. That is the only midfield in the world that can do that. That's number one. I think I to Crunk's point, I did see it in the last 5 matches. Kevin kind of was not, because Tarek, to your point, yes, he is going to give the ball away sometimes, but one of the things that's so interesting about Kevin is that he'll get it back within 3 seconds. So, but I don't think that's one of the things that you weren't necessarily seeing in this 5-match run, is that he's getting that ball back. And I think that really, really hurt us, definitely against Copenhagen and definitely against Liverpool. And that you just kind of saw the difference in the results of those 2 matches.
So immediately after the goal, Grealish for Cole Palmer, guaranteeing you that Pep, he gets at Grealish for his actions before the goal. Like I said, when Grealish was begging for that ball, he was just pointing straight down to the he looked like a fool. When you are doing my player on any games and you're calling for the ball and no one will give it to you because you're just brand new. That's what basically he looked like. It was just run, attack. You see everybody else around you, they are looking at the goal. They are trying to attack, and your back is to 3 defenders right now. If I give you the ball, you're getting taken out. And so I don't think he was in the right frame of mind. So he got pulled. 80th minute, Alvarez for Haaland, meaning Pep has listened to the pod. Last week, I asked y'all, how can Pep fit Alvarez in as the man up top? None of that sharing the stage with Haaland because it's impossible. It is only 10 minutes, but it's a good start. It needs to happen every match if City are ahead, in my opinion. But Cole Palmer, man's is a star. And you see it whenever he gets the ball at his feet. Match is over, 3-1 City with a win. We can look at our team critically and also consider the guys of potting. So I ask you guys, in that match, 1, who was the man in the match? And 2, who was the man who was the most ass in the match? Let's start with Charlie.
Do both have to be City players, or can it be?
Hey! I didn't specify.
Man in the match, I'm not gonna be all super hipster. It's Erling Haaland. He had a brace in the first half. He's Erling Haaland. Ass of the match, is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, ass of the match.
Okay, the donkey of the match. I'm gonna say, and it's great because this is his name, Estupinan.
That's why I struggled with it earlier. When I saw, I was like, Estupinan, and I practiced it before the recording too, but I was just I know I'm gonna mess it up.
I mean, there's an Inye, so it's really Estupinan. And I know how to do it because I took Spanish forever, but it's just more fun to say Estupinan. Purvis. Let's call him Big Perv. Big Perv with his dumb foul. He's my ass of the match.
My man of the match also is going to be Erling Haaland. Let's not overthink this. Let's not overcomplicate this. Scored 2 goals. Great. My ass of the match is going to be Craig Paulson because I feel like he messed up at least 3 calls in the first half for us directly. And I don't know. I think that, Crunk, I think to your point about the chaos of the match, I think that was something that he allowed.
Yeah, Holland. And I'm with you on Craig Paulson, the ref. I feel like this is the second week in a row, actually. Second match in a row, let's say, between this one and the Liverpool match, where I have issues with the officiating. Now, I probably have some small issues every week, but I felt like this one in the Liverpool match were fairly egregious. So, I'm going to go there.
Well, let's take a look at the Premier League standings.
Hold on real quick before you do that.
For sure.
So, 2 things. Laporte going down at the end of the match
Oh, I forgot about
made
that.
me nervous,
Oh,
and I think he's gonna be okay. But he's been out for a long time.
and he
We
looked
need to get him
frustrated.
back. We got to get him back healthy, because again, I think he is the best at pinging that diagonal ball, and so we have to get him get him back healthy and ready to play. Um, I don't know what his status is for the World Cup, but I'd be okay if he missed it and just got healthy. The other thing is, this is one of the very rare matches where a Pep managed City team does not dominate possession, total number of passes. We actually were behind Brighton in both of those statistics, and that very rarely, if ever, happens. So I think it just kind of goes to the quote unquote chaotic nature of the game, of the match. And we never got, I say never. There were too many periods where we didn't have the control of the match like we typically do. And part of that is a credit to Brighton. They're good on the ball, better than most on the ball. And so, but that was just interesting statistic that I saw. So
To piggyback on that real quick.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I was gonna say real quick, like if they find a diamond in the rough as a young striker, the way they found like Caicedo and Lamptey, like if they can find a striker who's a little bit more, has more than what Welbeck can give right now, they're going to be dangerous because that's literally all they're missing. They are so good, and that they did what Leeds does, but they did it with so much more control to where you never felt like, oh, I can get past it. It was like, no, like you forced our goalkeeper to be the best goalkeeper in the world with his feet. That's the only way we scored that first goal, right? Like it was tough. And so like all credit to Brighton.
Tarek, I appreciate you giving the statistics about the possession and the passes, because normally I don't even look at any of that stuff. Like I really am just like vibes. Been a City fan for a while. Pep has been there for a while. You like, at least I can kind of like sense when things are off. At least I feel so. I appreciate you coming through and kind of being like, this might be why you said it was chaotic, because it really felt insane at moments.
I mean, because you got to think, we typically have anywhere from 60 to nearly 70% of the ball on any given match. In this one, we only had 48% possession.
Yikes.
That's so far off, our typical, that again, again, it's not just because we were poor with the ball. Part of it, to give Brighton their credit, is because they were good with the ball. You made a comment about KDB, or I think it was whoever talked about, yes, he would give the ball away, but he typically fights hard to win it back. And that's what our teams do. When a City team loses the ball, we are trying to win it back, much like the Barcelona teams of Pep did back in the day. Was it 5 to 8 seconds or less? We want to win the ball back. And so we weren't able to do that in a lot of cases. They had some spells where they had quite a bit of possession. It's like, what is really going on here? But they're a good team, and like again, if they can get, and I don't want them to, but if they ever get a good striker up top, they because again, quite honestly, he should have scored that. The goal was wide open. He should have chipped Ederson. It should have been a goal, but he missed, and a better striker doesn't miss that.
Yeah, not only did he like chip and miss, he chipped and slipped and missed. Like it was like he had so much time, and then he rushed at the end because I think it was Zhao. He was coming flying, and he came flying in and like threw him off. But if it was a player with who could slow time in theory, they would take a better first touch or something. But yeah, I was worried for like 2 seconds, and then I saw who it was, and I relaxed. So shout out to Danny. Stay at Brighton all you need, and you don't have to worry about them. But until then, like I said, if they get someone they can really be in trouble up top. But taking a look at the Premier League standings, Arsenal, they're in first, but we're coming at them. They dropped points. The lead is now just 2 points. City second, Tottenham in third. Newcastle high stepping their way into fourth with a game in hand of fifth and sixth place, Chelsea and United. Fulham in seventh, and eighth, holding on to that last spot in the third UEFA competition, is Liverpool. What from the weekend was intrigued you, Charlie?
Oh, it's those red frauds losing to the audacity to lose to Nottingham Forest. What? And Steve Cooper's gang of merry men. Like, they don't even know each other. They don't know wives' names. They don't know kids' names. They don't know what girls they got on Instagram. Like, they just met. I don't understand how you lose to a club like that. And I guess it's because they don't have enough money. I don't know. What Klopp got now, bro? Like, the team is mid. And here's the best part, y'all. If you take away that demolition they had against Bournemouth, guess how many goals they have this season? They will be down to only 13 goals in 12 matches, in 11 matches, in the 10 other matches.
Hello.
Like, that is so mid. Like, it is the most average of average. It is embarrassing. Also, just want to shout out Fulham because they have scored more goals than Man U and Chelsea. They have 22 goals as a team. Chelsea and Man U only have 16. So, shouts to them being better than those rich American clubs. Ugh.
Yeah. So again, first thing on the list is the Nottingham Forest over Liverpool. I don't know if they were only able to get up for us and they just don't have it in them to get up multiple times on a week. I don't know, but I don't know how you beat us. Well, I do know they had a little bit of help, but you beat us and then you drop points again. You lose, not even just drop points, but you lose to Nottingham Forest. That is like completely insane. It is so up and down, so chaotic, so you don't even know what to expect from them week to week. And so long may it continue. Of course, Southampton drawing with Arsenal. I'm watching that game. What was that, Sunday morning, I think? And, I haven't gotten – so in all transparency, I don't usually watch much Liverpool matches because I always expect them to get the goal that they need to come back. So if I see that a team is winning against Liverpool, I will typically just be like, yeah, whatever. They're not going to hold on. They'll get the goal somehow, or VAR, or somehow they're going to get the goal and whatever. I just assume they're going to win. I haven't gotten to that place yet with Arsenal, but I saw Southampton get that goal, and it was still a lot of time left in the match. And so it's like, they're probably going to, it's like, I'm not going to get my hopes up. They're probably going to get it back. And then they don't. And so, kudos to Southampton, who, again, not a great team at all, but, and you know what? I'm kind of torn, right? Because I got love for Gabby Jesus, right? But early in the season, he was super hot. And and again, it is still early in the season, but he's tailed off a little bit. And this is kind of the player that we saw at City. He'd have his highs and he'd have his lows. And when he was having his highs at Arsenal, it was, City was the problem. Pep didn't play him in the right spot, this, that, and the other. And I don't wish him any bad luck. I want to see him do well. But I let this little vein of form where he's off, let it continue. Let them keep dropping points. Let us get our, in the lead, and can begin our procession towards 3 in a row. So no disrespect to Gabby, love him. But or if he's going to score, if somebody else fail and screw it up one way or the other. But then I think you called it out, but Newcastle, seeing them in the top 4, I think I enjoy it because of how much hate they are getting because of the whole oil club stuff. So I hope that we win it. I hope Newcastle is in second, then maybe Arsenal, and let Tottenham maybe be fourth, because I want Liverpool, United, all them, to not get top four. And quite honestly, I could do with Arsenal not getting top four too, but it's whatever. So yeah, those are my three things for this week.
So I do have to just say I'm going to take y'all back to middle school time when this song first came out. Every time the song would come out, the video would come on the television, I would make sure to flip the coffee table up onto the couch so I could have the whole living room floor to do the entire choreography to the entire video. So that was that's why this song is great for me.
So before you
Yes.
get started, the people, I'm just telling you what I'm hearing in these streets. The people said that in the lit stream on Friday, they want to see this on video.
Ooh, man, okay.
Just set
All
the
right,
camera up.
Well,
Set the
I guess
camera
I'm gonna
up.
have to
Yes.
break out that Darren's Dance Grooves tape or whatever that was, and make sure make sure I remember all of that stuff. Oh man, so it is good to be back in the ways of winning, and it's also good to do that on the road. So Garrett Taylor took his side, excuse me, to Tottenham to play, and we came out with a 3-0 victory. Just going through the lineup really quickly, Ellie Roebuck started in goal, Esme Morgan, backline of Esme Morgan, Alex Greenwood, Leia Alexandri, Kirsten Kasparai. The midfield, Yui Hasagawa, who I thank you guys so much for talking about her in the last episode, because she has made such a big difference in the club. Played at the 6. Coombs played at the 8. Castellanos at the 10. Up top, Shaw, Kelly, and Hemp. One of the things in this particular match, it did get off to a really rocky start. Ellie Roebuck had a encounter with Ellie Brazil. She kind of tried to do a Ederson and let the ball roll into the box, and Ellie Brazil stepped towards her, so she had to make a move. They both approached the ball at about approximately the same time, and basically Ellie Roebuck kicked the ball through Ellie Brazil's leg. We really hope Ellie Brazil is doing all right. One of the this particular match, even though City was in control and dominated possession for 75% of the match, at least in the first half, there wasn't a lot of chances that were necessarily created and capitalized on until the 41st minute. We had a corner. Alex Greenwood and Chloe Kelly are our corner takers. It was Alex Greenwood's side on the left, and she put the ball to a spot, and Bunny met it, and that was the first goal, and that was great. We came out in the second half really wanting to score. Bunny scored a banger in the 47th minute. Excuse me, and then Hempo scored in the 76th minute. I think one of the things that I really took away from this match, that was really important to me, was that I saw in the first 3 matches of the season, our midfield was just getting overrun completely. So Yui Hasagawa by trade is an 8, as is Laura Coombs. She's an 8, and Castellanos is a 10. So even though Coombs still played advanced in that box-to-box role, Hasagawa sat at the 6, but she also was getting help. Like, this is why I'm pretty sure that, like, a lot like Barcelona has a model for their entire club, City Football Group has a model for their entire club. If you look at how Kirsten Kasparai kind of played that same role that that Cancelo does on the right, just having way more free roam to get up the pitch, and then they would have Esme Morgan sit in with Hasegawa in the midfield, just like you saw Walker and Cancelo earlier in the season when they were inverting those fullbacks into the midfield. You saw that inversion of the fullbacks into the midfield. So it was kind of cool to see the club as a whole take their brand of soccer to the next using it through this team as well, and you see it throughout the club. Now, I will say, of course, we already said I have one Gareth Taylor moment to like, what are you doing out here? I think it was not too long, like about 10 minutes after she scored her own goal, or her second goal, Bunny got hit in the face with a ball like 6 feet away from each other, like in the face, like very clearly. Like, I think, especially for Americans, in the sports discourse has definitely all been about concussions, especially about with American football, with all of the different players suffering concussions in like high profile matches. So it was very odd to see this player who very obviously suffered head trauma not be immediately taken out of the match. In fact, she came back in and played for another 20 minutes. So that was a little bit distressing. I would have liked him to take her off of the pitch once she was down. Yes, the player's always going to say, yeah, I'm good, I want to come back in, but you have to be the manager and manage your players and take her off at that point, especially with the match, a lot like the excuse me, the Brighton match for the men. It was pretty obvious after Bunny scored that, even if after she scored her first goal, based off of Tottenham wasn't getting any chances going forward. They just weren't effective going forward. They were trying to help us, hoping to hit us on the counter, which, because of the way that we set up, just based off of those inverted wingers that we were talking about, to clog up the midfield, that they wanted to break through the middle, and we weren't allowing them to do that. So it's disappointing that we didn't get her off of the pitch earlier, but it is good to get back into the win column. So now we're sitting on 6 points, which puts us sixth in the table, out of a table of 12, with excuse me, a few more matches to go. Obviously, the whole season left to play. Now, what does become interesting is that this week we enter into the FAWSL Cup for the women, the Vitality FA Cup. So we will be playing Blackburn Rovers on Wednesday. I will be interested to see what kind of squad rotation goes in there. I would imagine that we might see Vicky Lozada, that she did come in later in the match. We'll probably see Julie Blackstad, who hasn't played a lot. You haven't seen a lot of necessarily rotation of this squad since Yui Hasegawa has come into the squad, and I cannot stress enough how much she has meant to the midfield. Just having two ball winners in the midfield has made a world of difference for this club. And so hopefully going forward, against the bigger clubs like a Chelsea, like an Arsenal, we'll see more of those results coming through. So I'm excited about her acquisition. I know that it wasn't necessarily really talked about, but after Kira Walsh left, we had to have somebody play the 6, and even if it is an 8 that's playing the 6, you can see that it's working to our favor and our advantage. So that's good.
And where's my mic? There we go, the front of it. When Hasegawa, like I said, I remember seeing the tweet about her like randomly at like 8 p.m. like before the transfer period. And then I had really hadn't heard much about her, and then I don't think she played the first match, or maybe she did a little bit or something like that. And then this next match, like, boom, she was just there, and you were just like hearing her name over and over and over and over. And so, yeah, it was a great grab.
Yeah, she was still injured for the Chelsea match, which is why she didn't play in that particular match. But yeah, it's been Ever since that we've gotten her into the starting lineup, you can definitely tell it adds a level of cohesion that the midfield didn't have before. So I'm really excited to see what that looks like.
So there's 2 matches with back-to-back braces for Bunny Shaw. Why do we think? What is it that's giving her or allowing her to flourish at this particular moment? Do we know? Can we pinpoint so that we can keep it going?
I think part of it is that both of the wingers have been pretty dynamic. Both Chloe Kelly and Lauren Hemp have been relatively dynamic, even if they haven't necessarily been quiet or they've been kind of quiet. They're still making those runs that are basically roasting fullbacks, and they're making center backs make that decision. It's like, okay, do I go out there and leave this space for this striker, or do I stick on this striker and just let this winger like play in? So I think, to me, that's been the biggest thing, is just our wing play has definitely just opened her up and just made center backs think like, my fullback's not keeping up with that winger. I need to go step to the ball and stop it. And then the rotation coming back to Bunny is just not there. So I think that's the biggest thing. I would say on her set piece goal is just, there are a lot of parallels between she and Erling Haaland, in that like she's going to be bigger, stronger, faster than most strikers that you see in this league. And I think that was just, her set piece goal was just you seeing her being able to get to the spot before the person marking her did. So I think that definitely has something to do with it as well.
Cool.
Yeah, no, some of those bunny-headed goals, those are some like headed goals. She's just like, ooh, just like knocking people out of the way.
Like almost all
pumps me up.
The goals, the dunks that she had last week were just, they were exquisite. And even this week, just her goals were great. So I think keeping up, making sure that we're building through the wings, seems to be, and what's nice is that it's not just one-sided. So it's not just building through Chloe Kelly. It's not just building through Lauren Hemp. So it's making sure that we're able to have that balance from left to right.
Hey. Well, as always, thank you for your, taking the time, waking up bright and early, like bright and early. Like,
yeah, that was a little rough. My sister had some friends over Saturday or Friday evening, so and usually my job is to play bartender, so I did play bartender till like 11:30 last Friday night. So it's like, oh yeah, let's set this alarm. So I definitely took a long nap after the Brighton match.
Oh, I bet. But let's get to the upcoming matches. So the Champions League against Dortmund. Haaland, he was limping when he was subbed off, and the announcer, he called it the moment that he started visibly limping during the match. Like, dude was like foaming in his mouth about it. But he kept playing on because Haaland is a freak of nature. And I said this about the Copenhagen game that we ended up falling apart on and having that draw and red card and stuff. But I do think Pep is going to rest. But I have another clip that like gives a reason why I feel this way.
So now is to try to secure the first place and focus in the Premier League. The job is done, you never know in the draw last 18. Maybe it's better to finish first or second. It's not the point. The point is we are in qualify, and now we have 3 games left before the World Cup, and have to finish the business.
So spot in the knockout stage is clinched. Pep saying he could care less first and second in the group, doesn't matter to him. Problem is, Gomez has a 1-match ban for a straight red, meaning he can't play. Could a back line of Ake, Laporte, Akanji, and Rico Lewis be happening? Is this the match Cole Palmer gets a start in the Champions League. Perfect chance for Pep to rest Haaland and let Alvarez be that lone striker up top. Combo, back at you. How do we see Pep setting up the squad? How do you see the match going? What's a scoreline prediction?
We're gonna see a wonky lineup. I think this is where we're gonna see like three at the back. Um, I could, I think, I think that this is the match that he starts Alvarez and Haaland together, um, and like plays Phil at that left wing back position, um, and then just have your uh, or I actually what would make a little bit more sense than Phil there would be Bernardo at that right wing back, and then you can move Cancelo back to the over to the left. Have your three of Rodri,
Gundo,
KDB, and Gundo in the midfield, and then your two up top with Holland and Alvarez. I just based off of what's available, I don't if if this was Copenhagen, yes, I could definitely see Rico Lewis getting a start and us playing four at the back. But because this is Dortmund and this is basically the team that we need to make sure that we beat to win the group or get second place, I think he's going to go with players that he feels more comfortable with. So that's why I'm going with that lineup and
I'm
excluding
sorry, did you give a
Phil,
score?
even though I know he very much trusts Phil. Oh, and no, I didn't give a score, but I think because this is our death lineup, and then you do have Phil to come in off the bench, which I think will be good. I do see this as a 3-2 match that we hang on and win. Like I can see us like jumping out to a 3-0 lead and then like letting 2 goals in later.
am I right in
Yeah.
that this
Yep.
match is in Dortmund or at Dortmund? Yeah. So I think I read where Akanji, when he was talking about the Liverpool match, and he was saying like during warmups, he was kind of like, not even say disappointed, but he was surprised by how sterile the environment at Liverpool's place was, because he coming from Dortmund, he was expecting it to be like crazy loud. He said it did get there, but when he was, making this, this observation, he was like, I thought it was going to be louder, but it wasn't. And it did get there. So I think it's going to be a crazy environment at Dortmund. It won't be as hostile as Liverpool because there's not that hate, but it'll be loud. It'll be crazy. So I think I'm going to go, and I hate doing this because it seems like a cop out, but I'm going to go a 2-2 draw. I do think it's hard. It's insanely hard to figure out what Pep is going to do. I like Tom's lineup. I didn't think about the 3-5-2. I just assumed he was going to go his 4-3-3 like we always do. But yeah, so I had a 4-3-3. I had, the typical Akanji, Diaz, Ake. I had Ake at left back. Excuse me, at that left side at center back, and Cancelo, Rodri, Gundo, and KDB in the midfield. Foden, Holland, and I wasn't sure if he was going to go Grealish or Alvarez to be a part of that forward line. So we'll see. Question: John Stones is supposed to be back. Is this too soon to throw him out there?
I think he might get some sub time, but yeah, I think or if he gets a start, he might get like pulled at like 60 minutes.
If he does, I see him on the right giving Akanji a breather. But I feel like you kind of got to play Akanji in Holland. This is, they came from here. They know how to play in this environment. You almost have to give them a chance to show everybody else kind of show them the way.
Yeah, I also like the fact that Dortmund doesn't have a lot of pace. At least they didn't start a lot of pace in the last matchup, right? They had like Royce and Reina. And so since they aren't super, speedsters like an Alan Saint-Maximin or whatever, like Akanji can hold it down. Like he can hold down Gio or Marco. And I loved your lineup, Tarek. I think I would go Phil on the left and Grealish Phil on the right and Grealish on the left. I just like the way that front line works together, especially if we want to like open them up early and be able to kind of like sit on the lead and just get the 3 points and win the group. So, yeah.
So I think Pep's gonna look at the Dortmund's manager, Eden. Is that his name, Eden? And he's gonna look at Pep and they're gonna be like, "Wink, you put out a rested team. I put out a rested team. We're in like what? Dortmund's in like 5th, 6th place. Like they're kind of struggling so far this year. So honestly, they're in a spot where unless something like crazy chaotic happens in the Champions League, they're gonna make it through too. So it's like the World Cup's coming around the corner. Let's just relax. Let's make it through this match. No one get any red cards. 2-2 draw. Call me phony with you, Tarek. I don't think anyone's really going to push it.
Charlie, did you give a score?
I did not give a score. I'm going to go 1-0. Tight.
City, yeah?
No, Dortmund. Come on, man. Like, what are we doing?
I gotta ask. Oh man, my bad.
No, you're right. No, it's fair. Just clarification. No, City will win 1-0.
You are.
No, here's the thing. I like that we can always give a score, but I feel like a differential is way more easier to say. Like I just think City wins by 1. I don't know if it's 2-1. I don't know if it's 1-0. I'm gonna say 1-0 because I hope we get a clean sheet just for like posterity and like keeping us in a good defensive rhythm. So I'll put that down.
Oh man, that's great. So we'll keep it moving to the match against Leicester City. Leicester, congratulations! They beat Wolverhampton. I mean, I don't really know how much of a congratulations on beating a team that cannot score is. So I mean, but it does mean that the Foxes were able to move up from 20th to 19th place. So good job on them. Funny enough, is the team that is above them is Wolverhampton by a point. So they're still stuck by them. Leicester, they need to continue momentum, but home field can only really do so much when you're facing the Manchester City, who has to continue winning in order to keep pace with Arsenal. Arsenal could be running into a wall, scoring 1 goal each in their last 4 matches. I am obviously looking past Leicester, and maybe that's foul on me, but it's what it's. Leicester have the players to score worldly on us, but that won't beat City. You have to keep up with us, and the only way you're going to score on us is, catch us slipping. You might get 1. So I'm just going to hop out, and I'm going to say it's going to be a similar scoreline to Brighton. City 3, Leicester 1. Tarek, what do you think?
So I see Jamie Vardy in my nightmares. I every time I see that dude line up, it puts a little bit of fear in my heart, because I've seen him on multiple occasions just kind of run rampant, run past us, and 1 shot, 1 goal, that kind of stupid stuff. I don't think he has the ability to do that consistently anymore. But as I was saying earlier about pacey wingers, and he's more of a striker technically, but if you put him out on the wing and get him isolated against an Akanji or whoever that outside back is in transition, I think that's a bad scenario for us. I do think we will win the game. I'm going to say we win 3-2.
I think that this is the John Stones game. This is the game he starts. I would just go ahead and put him in right at right center back. Start him with Akanji, or no, I would actually start him with Ake. Sorry, start him with Ake. I would give Sergio Gomez a start in the league, because you need to give him minutes, and you need to give the squad some rest. And I know that Cancelo feels like he can run forever, but like he is going to have to play in the World Cup. I think that this is the match that I give Rico Lewis a start, personally, just because you got to have a right back out there. And I think, Tarek, you said it a couple episodes ago about how Cancelo is oddly more effective on the left as a fullback than he is on the right, even though he is a right-footed player, and I tend to agree with that, even as counterintuitive as that is. I think this is also a Cole Palmer start game and an Alvarez start game. I think this is a Haaland rest game. But I still see us winning like 2-0, 3-1 in the same breath as Brighton sort of match.
The lineup is tough to think about because I'm trying to go off Pep's history, and like I don't think at this point he is willing to, especially after what happened with Gomez and the CL, take that risk again, right? Like I feel like he's going to go with the vets, only out of that feeling of security and just knowing what he's going to get. Even though the upside with Gomez is great, like it could be amazing attack, like both wings, like we go crazy. But I'm gonna say that we get Cancelo on the left, and I could see maybe if Stones is fully fit, him getting that start, and then having like the Diaz Laporte combo, especially if Akanji plays midweek at Dortmund. But overall, like I don't think it matters who we play. I think they're open. Like Wolves sucks offensively, and we don't. We have Haaland. And so I'm going to say City win 3-1.
Well, that is all. Man, we went deep into that Brighton match. I was like, man, why is this episode so long? But we went hard on that Brighton match. That's why I call us the most comprehensive City pod, bro. Like, we got up in those guts. If I can get NSFW for you in a little bit. So that is all for today's episode of Shades of Blue Podcast. Send those emails to shadesofbluepodcast@gmail.com, where they will be used in a future mailbag episode. Make sure to follow us on all the social media accounts: TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Check out our SOB merch store. You have a chance to help out the pod, rep Shady Gang. The links to all that information is in the show notes. It'll lead you right there. Rate the podcast on what people. Please let the listeners know how they can follow you. Charlie.
Sharky like the marker, Charlie like Brown.
You can find me on twitter.com @TomBomb816. That's THOMBOMB 816.
This is Tarek Peterson. You can hit me up on Twitter @Tarek Peterson, first and last name, TARIKPETERSON.
And I am Crunk Chocolate @Crunk Chocolate, CRUNKCHOCOLATE. And you know the vibes. Shady Gang, Shady Gang, Shady Gang.